Hello, everyone. So, as you can tell, I am getting this week's welcome video out a little later than I normally do. I am still catching up after visiting family this weekend. And that's really it. In general, I've been really happy with the feedback you are giving your peers in the discussion boards. The one exception is when you're doing peer reviews on a first draft. I worry when I see comments about grammar or spelling. These lower order concerns are important, but really they should be a focus of a third, fourth, or final draft of a paper. Higher order concerns like ideas, essay structure, and the narrowness of a topic are harder to work on in those drafts, so it's really important that you focus in on those on a first draft or a second draft. And I just want to share this image with you. So if you could imagine that one of your friends is building a house and they have everything framed. They have the walls framed, and they bring in an expert to ask about hanging drywall. And the expert looks around, they see the wooden frame, and they say, well, I think the walls should be blue. And the friend wouldn't be getting the help that they need. Yes, wall color is very important, but you need to make sure your walls are in place before you think about a detail like that. And I bring this up because learning how to talk about these larger issues like structure and narrowness of focus is going to help you in the long run. Many of you have commented on the fact that I'm stressing having a narrow focus in your papers when I comment on your work. Part of this reason is because students who don't get this practice in early on have a more difficult time doing this in larger, high-stakes projects like the advanced project. Okay, so that's kind of like one thing. The next thing is I want to talk a little bit about MLA APA format. In general, I see that people have been working to make sure that their papers have that nice format. There are a few refinements that we need to do, but in general, I'm seeing more people make the broad formatting choices that each style requires. And I'm really happy about that. And just as a side note, I'm being a little persnickety about that because one of the things that I hear from instructors who teach kind of those upper level advanced project classes is that they get frustrated when their students don't seem to know how to do the formatting like that. And, again, we'll keep on refining that as we move along. I'm happy to see that many of you are putting your citations in place. The formatting of the citation still need some work. This is something that we're learning on. But I just want to encourage everyone to pay close attention to the models in the handbook, a writer's reference, which you should be using. When I make comments on your papers and I refer to a section in the book, this is the book that I'm referring to. And also, you can always refer to the models on Purdue OWL. So, switching gears to kind of the next topic, I want to talk a little bit about some common issues that I see in a couple of assignments. So I'm going to talk about the main assignment for Module 6 first. In Module 6, you'll be writing your problem solution paper. One common problem that I see with it is that students try to address communities that are too large. Sometimes they just say people or people in the U.S. and that community, that audience is too broad for the scope of this assignment. Or they have problems that are kind of ill-defined or kind of too big. So, they'll say something like, this paper is going to solve gun control, or this paper is going to solve homelessness, which that's just too big for the scope of this paper. And again, that goes back to that question of just learning how to focus and select a narrow topic that you can explore with depth. Papers for this problem solution paper that are more successful often have kind of a really specific audience, like the faculty at Walter Payton College Prep, or the teachers at the school that your kids go to. Or sometimes I see successful papers that actually are written for the management, like at work, like your boss at work or the CEO of the company you work for. So that kind of narrowness, that kind of specificity really helps elevate this assignment, give it a lot of clarity. And the same thing when looking at topics, like finding really specific topics, like if you're writing for the teachers at Walter Payton College Prep or the school your kids go to, taking a topic like assigning homework or the holiday breaks. Doesn't matter whether you're for that or against that, but that's a really narrow topic, just a really specific problem or issue that you can address. Or if you're talking to the office manager or management at work, thinking about implementing a specific change in the software that the office computers use. Again, just something that's really kind of focused, specific, something that you can explore and be very grounded on when you talk about it. And just kind of reflexively looking back, I also want to just mention a common problem that I see with the comparison paper, or a couple of problems that I see with the comparison papers. And this is just kind of, I've been teaching this class for 10 years, 11 years. So this is just something that I've seen over time. One problem is just kind of, again, framing the topic. So really what we're trying to do in the comparison paper is to compare the two different sources that are about a single subject and not explore the subject. So that's that's not normally how we do a comparison, but this assignment is just trying to get us to think in a more advanced way. So kind of critiquing our sources. And then another problem that I see sometimes is that when people are working on this assignment, sometimes they'll just summarize the article, or they'll just pull, if they're just exploring the topic, they'll just pull a quote without really analyzing it. So more than summary, more than, just being able to quote and cite correctly, what we're looking for is for people to pick kind of specific elements of the articles that are similar and then compare them and analyze them. And even though I'm kind of talking about those common pitfalls for both assignments, I also just wanted to give you a heads up that much like how we're doing the expository and analytic paper, you're going to write both the first draft of the problem solution and the first draft of the comparison paper. But you're going to pick only one of them to revise. So even though you have to do both first drafts, you're going to pick either the problem solution or the comparison paper to revise. So, just as you're moving along, just kind of keep that in mind. So this has always been kind of part of the class, but I just want to call this out. So how this works is that you write 4 first drafts, and then you write 2 second drafts and 2 third drafts. Anyway, if you're just following along in the course modules, you're doing that, so no worries. My last thing that I'm going to say to you is that feedback on last week's papers will be out in the next couple of days. Okay, that's a little bit more than I have tried to give you, but overall, I'm happy to see the work that you're doing in the first drafts, and I look forward to seeing the work that you do in these drafts. Okay, everyone, have a good week. Talk to you soon.